the Radio Misfits Podcast Network.
Welcome to the Winemakers. This is Brian Casey with Danielle Langlois, Bart Hansen, Sam Couturi. Sit back, pour yourself a glass, and let's see what we're getting into. Little French rosé.
I love when you get the glug glug.
That was a glug glug for Combi for sure.
That was a very Bordeaux bottle glug glug.
Yeah.
Hey,
I forget what those sound like sometimes.
We're at DTC Symposium.
Day 7, 8? No, how long have we been here? Day 2. Okay.
17 and a half, right, Sam?
17.2. I just teed off.
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
You're all good. We're hanging out with Jason Haas from Tablas Creek, one of our favorite people in the world.
No pressure.
Yeah.
How will we live up to his expectations today, Jason?
Yeah. But we wanted to start the day with a little
Merlot is actually
that
to
was
those expectations.
Yeah.
That was cool.
Tell us a little briefly about how come you had that wine last night.
So I don't know how many of the people who know Tablas Creek maybe know the backstory of my dad, but he was a wine importer. That was really how Tablas got started. It's a partnership between our family and then the Perrin family from Chateau de Beaucastel, whose wines my dad imported all the way back into the 1960s. And people think of him as basically a French wine specialist, and whatever. He was the exclusive American importer for Lafite and Petrus for a couple of decades, and he established this great run of Burgundies.
Right.
But he was also a pretty early believer in California and represented wineries like Kistler and Phelps and Chapelet and Clos du Val.
Kistler is that old? How far back did they go?
70s.
Yeah, in 70s. But we don't have a lot of those wines left that he collected in that era, but we still got a couple cases of different stuff. And so I found that we had 3 bottles left of that 78 Clos du Val Merlot, and figured, like, what the hell? Like, if there was ever going to be an audience of people who would think that this was fun, like, that dinner last night was it. So,
and kind of the perfect restaurant too, like Chart House.
That classic
Napa Cab and steaks.
You open the Merlot before you go to the salad bar or after is the real question.
And like, it could not have been a better bottle. Like, you just don't know at any wine that's 48 years old whether you're going to get like something that was everything it could be or just a shadow. And this one was great, which was amazing.
Because, regardless of the quality of the cork, at a certain point, there's just no guarantee, right?
Well, the cork was beautiful.
Yeah, it was.
We were real worried about the cork. I had lots of conversations about it, and it probably could have come out with a $2.
Yeah, it was only
Safeway
saturated.
cork.
It was saturated less than halfway up the cork. I mean, just amazing. 48 years.
So we poured a little bit of rosé today because we did want to do a little toast to celebrate what would have been Philippe's birthday?
I believe 64th.
His 64th birthday. Yeah. So Philippe Cambi, and we will be releasing the new wines today, the Auditet wines, and still always think about Philippe.
The 23s are killer. He would have loved them. So much. Just seduction.
So Danielle,
Yes.
let's use a little bit of your French. Why don't you do a little toast to Philippe in French?
Bon anniversaire, Philippe. Nous te manque. We miss you.
Oh,
cheers.
Cheers, guys.
Santé.
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 Oh, Bart, we're baby killers again.
I know.
Killing this
delicious.
23.
This is 20th.
Tempier.
I don't know. That feels for me like it's kind of right in its sweet
Yeah,
spot.
it's entering the window. It's entering the window.
In the window. Jason, you kind of gave us a little, brief history of the winery, but to most of us in the wine world, and specifically those of us in the Rhone community, Tablas Creek just really has a special place in our hearts. So why don't you tell people why you guys do what you do there, and then I want to talk about your 10-year retrospective tasting after that. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So
To get an invite? Is that what you're?
I'm hoping I'm laying the foundation, Sam.
I mean, consider it done. So the partnership that would become Tablas Creek came out of the trips that my dad would make with the two Perrin brothers in the 70s and 80s to sell their French wines. Obviously, I mean, he was representing Beaucastel and eventually Famille Perrin and La Vieille Ferme. And
Was the way that we think of Beaucastel now, was that wasn't the perception in America in the 70s and 80s, was it?
not in the 70s. By the 80s, it was starting to be. I mean, it was the Wine Spectator Wine of the Year in 1989.
Okay.
So like by the late 80s, it was starting to get like the profile that it has now. But no, when he started working with them in the late 60s, they were one of only 5 producers in Châteauneuf-du-Pape, even estate bottling their wines.
Wow.
But they were only bottling about a third of their production because there was so little market for estate bottled Châteauneuf-du-Pape that the other 2/3 was just getting sold off to the cooperatives because like that was as much as they could sell.
Code to run.
So he had decided that like the way to represent his brands properly was to choose a producer in regions that he thought kind of punched above their weight in terms of the cost and the value that they represented, and then tried to use that brand to establish not just the producer but the whole appellation.
Right.
And so a lot of that was kind of trade education, and he would go and host seminars, bring his suppliers with him, do events with wine groups, with writers, with somms. And so they spent a lot of time together on the road. And California was an important part of those trips because it's a huge wine market. And this was the era when he was representing those other California wineries. And the Perrins are a pretty remarkable French family in that like they are super interested in the way that things are done elsewhere. And that's still fairly rare. And it was almost like vanishingly rare at that point, where like this was an era when like the next village over in Burgundy was like kind of foreign territory, let alone what was being done on another continent. And so the parents were always super interested in checking out these California wineries and seeing what they were doing. And they gradually came away from these visits, like each time talking about, these wines are really good, but it's a Mediterranean climate. Why is nobody focusing on the grapes that we know and love in California? And so by the mid 80s, those conversations had gotten serious, and they decided, well, let's do it ourselves. And they looked for 4 years to find the right spot, ended up choosing Paso Robles, kind of to their surprise as much as anybody else's. Yeah. And then went about the whole long process of kind of replicating the diversity that was at the vineyards at Beaucastel by bringing in clones, bringing in new varieties. We've brought in 9 grape varieties that had never been used in America before because that was a part of the profile.
And we tell this story all the time. When you guys were doing it back then, was UC Davis involved, or you guys just brought material
Neither.
to California?
Neither. We did not use suitcases, but we could not go through UC Davis because at the time they had allowed their federal license to lapse because the guy who ran their grapevine, basically their viticulture program, was of the published opinion that all the important varieties were already in California and that there was no such thing as clonal variation. And so
that guy was wrong.
Yeah. I mean, there is now a new regime at Davis, and like they are an incredible partner. But at that point, they weren't accepting anything new because they didn't think it was worth their time. And so we went through another USDA licensed station in upstate New York. So it's in Geneva, New York. It was designed to kind of handle and index varieties that would be used in that Northeast kind of environment. So a lot of German and Alsatian varieties principally. And my dad convinced the head of that station that this was an interesting enough project that he should do the virus testing and propagation work for Rhone varieties, even though they were unlikely to ever be planted in New York. Right. So our vines spent 3 years in quarantine in upstate New York before being released to us in 1992.
And will you explain what happens when when they're in quarantine, what exactly does that mean?
So they're mostly worried about viruses.
Yeah.
The other things that they would worry about, like people always ask about, like a phylloxera-like pest, like that's pretty easy. You wash the soil off of the roots, like that's you can be sure that that's not something you're bringing in pretty quickly. But in terms of viruses, it takes a while often for viruses to show, and so what they do is they take what they call indicator vines, so vines that are known to be susceptible to a certain virus. They graft it onto the vines that you're trying to bring into the country. They let it grow for about 3 months, and they figure that within those 3 months, it will either show the virus if you have the virus, or it will not show the virus, which shows that you don't have that virus. Then they cut that indicator vine off and graft the next one on. And there's 9 viruses that they're testing for, which is why it takes 3 years.
And so you can't do them all at the same time. You have to just go one after the other.
Yeah, they're done in sequence.
Wow.
Every 3 months. That's wild. I didn't know that. How they did that.
Yeah, it's so old school, low tech. They now UC Davis has developed a DNA test, which they would prefer to use to do virus testing. That would take a matter of weeks as opposed to years. But they still haven't gotten federal approval for it. So it's still that same old school process.
And do they do actual DNA testing where they say, okay, we're testing this specific vine, or we know that it is clone whatever of this particular varietal, because they have a whole library of tests that they have done previously? Like, how do they?
Yeah, so that's something that they do now, but was not something that they did when we brought our things in 35 years ago.
So are they looking at leaf structure, or, I mean, how are they?
I mean, they mostly are looking at your documentation as to where it comes from and what the people who sent it thought it was, and then they're worried about virus. They don't really care what the variety or the clone is.
Graciano that everybody thinks is Movedra, it was clean. Didn't matter what it was. Right?
Yeah. So, I mean, it's sort of on you to know that what you think you have is what it is, or what it is what you think it is.
Well, because the DNA testing is a very recent discovery, right? Being able to do that.
Yeah. And I don't know that would actually allow you to do something as precise as clonal selections. I think that's maybe too fine for a DNA test to show, but it would obviously do like varietal parentage, like that sort of thing you could do. But that wasn't an option when we were doing it.
And so you were saying last night that you accidentally or unbeknownst to you got 2 clones that you were not expecting.
We did. This is how we became the pioneers of Vermentino and Tannat in California. So the nursery that our French partners used to clear the vines out of France into the USDA's quarantine system was run by a guy who happened to be a real, like, an enthusiast in his own right for wine and for grape varieties. He had investments in vineyards in Uruguay, which is why he was so focused on Tannat. He had come to believe like this was the perfect grape to grow in sort of all warm climates. And so he included those 2 varieties, which are both like notably easy to plant and grow and work with, because he thought they would do well in Paso Robles and we should plant them. And he did this without asking or telling us or the parents. So the vines just showed up. And the first that we knew about this was when we got a bill from the USDA for the virus testing of 10 grape varieties when we thought we were only supposed to be testing 8. It took us months to untangle what had happened and finally trace it back to him. But I mean, in retrospect, he was right. They are probably the 2 easiest varieties that we grow. And they both do beautifully at our site.
Wait a minute. Is Tannat one of the varieties of Chateauneuf, right? No, it's not.
No, it's from southwestern France. It's not from the Rhone. So no, it's more closely related to that whole like Cabernet family of grapes. It's not related at all to Rhone varieties.
Yeah, and the Vermentino, roll,
is kind
of, what we call it when we try and make it more.
Try and sell it at the Girl in the Fig.
Exactly.
I mean, it's Rhone adjacent. It's blended with a lot of white Rhone varieties. It's used in Côte de Provence. It's used in Côte de Languedoc.
Exactly like me when I talk to Sandra. Macabou. We can. That's so Rhone adjacent.
So the other wine you brought to dinner last night was the Tablas Creek Bourblanc.
Yeah.
Is that how you say that?
Yeah.
Okay. That was beautiful. If anybody out there likes nice, beautiful white varietals, you should try 100% Bourblanc because it's gorgeous.
Well, good luck finding them.
Well, you have to call Jason,
We have a
I guess.
website.
Yes.
Tablas Creek website.
TablasCreek.com. TABLAS.
Yeah.
Spell that right?
I mean, one of the things that we feel like we have that's both an opportunity and an obligation is like the opportunity is that Beaucastel is famously one of the very few estates, even in Châteauneuf-du-Pape, that has all of the Châteauneuf varieties planted. So like what a cool resource for us to have. And we decided, not right up front, at the beginning when we started, we brought in 6 of the Châteauneuf varieties plus Viognier and Marsanne, because that makes up 95% of what they plant at Beaucastel. But in 2003, like we'd had such success with some of the trace varieties that we brought in the first time around, like Grenache Blanc, like Cunoise, that we decided we should see how that whole suite of grapes did. And so we brought in all of the super obscure stuff, the Picardin, Muscardin, and Vaccarez, Terre Noir, Bourboulon, Claret. And in a lot of cases, these are grapes that have not been planted in any significant way, even in the Rhone, in generations. They fell out of favor because they were too high acid, not rich enough. Maybe they were not super productive. Maybe they were susceptible to, like in Picardin's case, powdery mildew, and they didn't really have a great cure for that at the era. And so like it's kind of a miracle that some of them didn't go extinct.
Right.
When we planted a half acre of Picardin at Tablas Creek, it increased the world's total Picardin footprint by 40%. So like Bourboulon wasn't quite that extreme. Bourboulon there's probably, I don't know, 100 acres of in France. But still, it's almost always blended in as a trace amount into other things. And so one of the things that we think is really cool for us to be able to do is to take these varieties that people probably only know from a list they studied for their Master Somm exam and put it into a bottle at 100% that grape, label it varietally, and give people a chance to wrap their heads around it.
Yeah.
And it turns out that the reasons why a lot of those grapes may have become rare in France may have nothing to do with the quality of wine that they can make in a place like California. It's often that in like the 60s and the 70s, when it was a cold period in Europe, and they were struggling to get things ripe, and basically the things that they wanted to plant were the things that ripened early, the things that had lots of lushness and were like appealing and rich and floral. Like now, as the climate is 75 years warmer than that, and we're in a place like California where it's reliably sunny and we have a long growing season anyway, maybe that's exactly what we need.
Yeah.
Like those are varieties where their weaknesses 75 years ago have now become strengths.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now they are all here. And you are producing them all. I finally checked my final box, I don't know, 3 or 4 months ago or something.
Well, it was the Picardin, right? What was the last
Muscardin.
one?
Muscardin was the last one.
Muscardin? Yeah.
That was one that spent 16 years in quarantine.
Wait, what?
Because they kept finding viruses, and every time that they find a virus, they have to start a cleanup program, and the cleanup takes a year, and then they have to restart the virus testing protocol. And it failed 4 separate rounds of cleanup. Essentially, it was back
Don't
to
you
square
throw
one.
it out at that point and ask for a new sample?
I mean, but what's the likelihood that new sample is going to be free of virus?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's the problem. Is these grapes are so rare that they aren't in the nursery service, and so we were doing field cuttings from Beaucastel, and the idea that anything that is a field cutting is truly free of virus. It's like find the human body with no bacteria in it. Like, it just does, it's like it's sort of a fiction. So it's just a question of like it's going to take a certain number of rounds of cleanup, and Muscardin was unlucky. A lot of other stuff got through in 1 or 2 rounds of cleanup, but not Muscardin. So it took us 16 years to get it out of quarantine. We didn't get it out of quarantine until 2019, and then grafted it into the vineyard. Got a small crop in 21, which we didn't think was exciting enough to use as a solo varietal bottling, so we included it in one of the blends. Same thing in 22. 23, we still only had 1 barrel, but we thought it was characteristic and distinctive enough to be worth bottling. So that's what you got to taste.
Yeah, thank you.
So do you feel like do your French counterparts ever come over to taste the 100% varietals bottled? And do they think that they taste like the characteristics kind of stay the same, or do they think that they're now completely new? They've taken on a completely new, I don't know, taste since coming to the United States.
Well, it's somewhere in between those two.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's the principal reaction that we get.
Yeah.
Usually the reaction that we get is like, honestly, we don't never have enough of these to ferment them on their own anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. So we don't know what they taste like.
Exactly. So it's like their response is, it's so cool to be able to taste this as a finished wine in bottle, because we just don't get to do that.
Yeah.
Like last time I was at Beaucastel, I was wandering through the cellar with César Perrin, and I saw a tank that was labeled MTV. I was like, that's interesting. Like, I mean, the French are fans of a good music video, but it turns out that this was their entire production of Muscardin, Terre Noire, and Vaccarez.
Yeah.
Like, in order to have it enough to fill up a tank to ferment, they had to put the three of them together.
Yeah.
So that was, for us, like, kind of eye-opening to realize that, like, we would have visitors from Chateauneuf who would be coming to visit Tablas Creek to taste these varietals to decide what they wanted to plant in Chateauneuf. But that's been an incredibly cool piece of what we've gotten to do.
Super cool.
My question with all the obscure varieties, now that you have them all, have you started playing with them in the Tablas blends?
Yeah.
And kind of like building more of what the Beaucastel would have been like?
Yeah. I mean, we are at the point now where we're using all 6 of the Chateauneuf legal white grapes in the Esprit de Tablas Blanc. We did that for the first time in 2020.
Which, by the way, I know I already told you this, but I had a bottle of the 22 the other night, and it was fucking amazing. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, those grapes have to earn their way into that blend every year. So just because we have all of them in the ground doesn't mean that they all get in, because we want them on the label. Yeah. Like 2020, we had all 6 of them in there. 2021, Picardon, we didn't feel like was at the level that it needed to be in the Esprit Blanc. So there were only 5 grapes in there, and we were able to get 6 back in because they all cleared that bar in 22 and 23. Yeah. On the red side, there are still 2 of the 8 Chateauneuf legal red grapes that we have never incorporated into the Esprit Red, and that's Terre Noire and Muscardin. I think Muscardin may get in there before Terre does. Like the last couple of vintages of Muscardin, I think, have been good enough to go into the Esprit. But we wanted to, in general, like when we have something that's new, we want to show it off on its own first so that we can wrap our heads around it. We can show it to people. They can wrap their heads around it. Terre Noire, we've had in production since 2013, and we have never yet felt like it added to the Esprit blend, so it hasn't yet gone in.
Is that so? You're trying to get it in. Are you doing stuff? You're doing things differently in the vineyard to try to get there? Or are you doing things different in the cellar? Different treatments?
We're playing with both.
Yeah.
I mean, the first few vintages, we were like, well, maybe we just didn't let it get ripe enough. Because in general, Terre Noire is pale, thin, tannic, high acid, floral, herby. Think of it as
sounds delicious.
Think of it as like an alpine grape, like Pulsar, and you're probably like in the right realm, or like an Italian mountain grape. Like so it seems to us to be a really good partner for grapes that are like kind of too dense, thick, tannic, low in acid. So we've included it in a blend that we lead with Syrah.
Yeah.
Whenever we've put it into a blend that's led by Mourvedre, as our Esprit Red is, it just feels like it thins the wine out. And we don't know if that's a vine age question. We don't know if it's just a vintage question. Maybe it's just the variety. And I mean, there's a certain amount of randomness that results in the grapes that are traditional in a region like the Rhone. But I'm super excited for us to find out. And I would love us to get there where all 8 of those red grapes are in the Esprit Red, all 6 of the white grapes are in the Esprit White. But they got to earn their way in.
Yeah, no, that's cool. Those have got to be fun blending sessions.
Yeah.
They're really fun blending sessions.
I know. And how much of the material at this point are you guys supplying for other people, for growers? How does that whole thing?
So we have, over our history, sold something like 5 million grapevine cuttings to 600 vineyards from Washington State to Texas. It was a bigger piece of what we did in like the 90s and 2000s than it is now, partly because that was a real boom for Rhone varieties going into the ground. and partly because that was an era when more people were doing more planting. So we're sort of a step removed from that now, because these grapevines, our period of exclusivity on these grapevines has lapsed. And so now there are a number of different grapevine nurseries that have bought those clones from the library that we have helped establish at UC Davis. Right. And we don't always find out who has bought those from those nurseries. We're no longer in the relationship that we were in for the first 15 years, where we had a partner nursery and they paid us a royalty on the vines that they sold, and we got a list of who bought them. Right. But it's important for us that these varieties continue to be available, and we still spend a lot of time connecting people who reach out to us with nurseries that have that material. Yeah. So I know it's still pretty significant, but I don't have as clear a sense as to what the details are as I used to.
Yeah. You guys were kind of leaders in kegging and boxed wine as well, still going strong. You do majority of your wines in the tasting room still in keg?
Yeah. So it's one of the things, I mean, we've focused on our sustainability in a lot of ways since the beginning. We've been organic since our inception. We've been biodynamic starting in 2010. And
now regenerative.
And we were the first regenerative organic certified winery in the world in 2020. But one of the things that gets driven home, I think, to anybody who is really serious about assessing their own level of sustainability is that ultimately it's packaging, which is the biggest source of emissions, carbon footprint, waste, of any winery business. It's roughly half the carbon footprint of the wine industry is the glass bottle. Yeah. So we have been interested in exploring ways to get away from the glass bottle for 15 years. And some of that involves lightening the bottle that we do use. We use a super light mold.
Where do you guys get those?
We work with a company called Varelia, which is they're a European, Italian-based company, but they have plants all over the world, and they have a new factory that is powered by renewable energy in Chile, which was willing to do a custom mold for us. Wow. We used to get our glass from a plant outside of Seattle that closed and gave us no notice and no ability to place a final order. Just sorry, figure it out.
That must have been fun.
Yeah, that was great.
Was it in 2022 where you couldn't get any bottles anyway?
23, pretty much. So we had to scramble, and we were kind of bummed that we had to go to imported glass rather than domestic glass. Yeah. But there was literally not a domestic glass maker who would do a custom mold for us in the quantities. Right. We're not a million case winery. So, and then we actually did the transport analysis and realized that the carbon footprint of bringing it by ship from Chile to us in Paso Robles was almost identical to the carbon footprint of bringing it by truck from Seattle.
Right.
And that's
so that made us feel a lot better about the process. But that's where we had to get.
What gram bottles are you guys? How much do your bottles weigh?
380 grams.
Yeah, those are light, aren't they? Yeah.
The goal is to be sub 400, right?
Right.
That's what's considered truly light by the Scandinavian monopolies. But I got distracted in answering the question about the alternative packaging. So yes, you got to do what you can do to minimize the footprint of the bottles themselves, but there are lots of wines for which the investment in materials and energy and cost of a glass bottle doesn't make a ton of sense. Yeah. A lot of things that are poured by the glass at restaurants, kegs, are honestly a way better way to deliver that wine. It's zero waste. It's better for the wine that's served because there's no oxygen that's introduced as the wine gets poured. And you can reuse a stainless steel keg hundreds of times. Yeah. So we started doing wine and keg in the early 2010s. And then we decided to dip our toe in the water of doing boxes, which It's still a single-use package, but the carbon footprint of a box is 84% less than the carbon footprint of the 4 glass bottles that it replaces. And it offers advantages to customers also in that, a little bit like a keg, you serve it out of your fridge, and because the bag that's inside the box deflates around the wine that's left, you aren't introducing oxygen, and you can have wine that's good for 2 months in your fridge as you pour yourself a glass every night. So we'd started that in 2022. In a tiny way. We made 324 boxes the first time, thinking that like maybe it would take us a month to sell it out and that would be a huge success. And it sold out in 4 hours, and it's like we were off. So it's still not a massive piece of what we do. It's something like somewhere between like 7 and 9% of our volume. But again, if you can take that out of that glass packaging stream, it's an advantage. And then you mentioned in our tasting room, same thing. Whenever now we bottle, we figure out how long we're going to want to have a wine available in our tasting room, and we keg up enough kegs to pour those samples for the tasting room guests out of keg rather than out of bottle. And that saves something like 10,000 bottles a year from ever needing to be produced.
Yeah, that's interesting that you know how many people you're going to see basically on average throughout the year. You kind of do the math and figure we'll need this many kegs to get us through.
It's not perfect. There's often times where we run out of the last keg 2-3 weeks before we run out of the wine, and for those last few weeks we'll open it out of bottles. But still, if we can reduce it by 90%, that's a win.
How do you feel about red wine and keg as opposed to white wine, where maybe there's not an ageable process going on?
So we don't generally pour anything out of keg that has been in bottle for more than 9 months. So we always want to have older vintages of our very spree wines mostly, but red wines available in our tasting room. We're not pouring those out of keg. So it's not like we keg up enough to pour for years out of it. Right. But I think like a red wine that was bottled 6 months ago and a red wine out of keg that's been in keg for those 6 months, the difference is pretty minimal.
Okay. Probably the keg tastes better.
Yeah.
I would assume.
Yeah. Because it wasn't beat up that little bit. It's not recovering from the bottling process.
Into a bottle. It got to flow into a big keg and hang out.
And you have to be conscious. I mean, you can, if you have things that are sort of reductive that you're hoping will lose that character with the interaction with the cork. Like it's obviously not going to change it when it's in keg. It's going to pretty much stay the way it was when you put it in there. So you have to be conscious of the winemaking, but it has worked.
Yeah. Well, the other thing we wanted to touch on before we wrap up is your collective that you started with other wineries, which is another reason to join the wine club over at Tablas Creek, is that you get treated like you're a wine club member at other wineries around the United States, which is super cool. So talk to us a little bit about
Atlas,
that.
What's it called? The Atlas Wine?
Close. Wine Atlas Collective.
Wine Atlas Collective. There we go. I was only on a stage listening to it for an hour yesterday.
It's okay. We've only had how many prep calls for this talk?
In fairness, I only made one of those.
So this was an idea that was proposed to me by Janie Hoyk of Brooks Winery up in Oregon. So like all credit to her and her team for coming up with it. But the idea is that with lots of other industries, there are these associations. Like think of, say, country clubs or ski mountains, where if you have a pass or a membership at one, that gives you privileges, kind of reciprocal privileges at another. And that hadn't really been done, with the exception of like in a limited way among wineries with shared ownership.
Like Foley, something like that, yeah.
But her idea was to get together a small group. We ended up at the number of 8 wineries from different regions, all with a kind of small to medium-sized, independently run, environmentally focused, kind of leaders in their regions and leaders in hospitality. And so we ended up with 3 in California. It's us, Ridge, and Frog's Leap. Then with Brooks in Oregon, Lake Hole 41 in Washington, William Chris in Texas.
Shout out William Chris. Yeah.
They're doing so much cool stuff.
We love these Texas people now. They're killing it.
And Chris he's still a member. Chris Brundrett.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
And then Blenheim Vineyards in Virginia and Red Tail Ridge in the New York Finger Lakes.
Blenheim Vineyards in Virginia. Virginia wine, Kelly Cornett in the house.
So the idea is that like this is sort of a warm referral when you're going to a new region. If you're a member of one of these, you kind of know where you're going to start your exploration of that new region. And it's been super cool to see it. It's not like it's been transformational, but like every week we've got somewhere between 10 and 25 extra guests who are coming and identifying themselves as members of another collective winery. We've started to do some events together. We did a virtual tasting in early December where everybody sent up a wine to this facility up in the San Francisco Bay Area where they can repackage it into little 180 ml sample packs. And so people got this little bookshelf of 8 little bottles. And then we all got onto Zoom and everybody talked about their wines and their winery and the region and the collective. So we still have lots of plans for ways to make it more valuable to members going forwards. But at the very least, we feel like it helps people show that wine is a communal thing, that we work together with people in other places. We don't feel like, and we say this again and again, but I think customers sometimes don't hear it. Like wine is not a zero-sum product. Wine is the kind of a thing where like everybody drinks a range of wines. And if you can be the avenue through which people get introduced to other things that they love, like that comes back to help you. That doesn't hurt you. We hope that that's that much more of an incentive for people to want to join our club or one of the other clubs in the collective, and that much more of a disincentive for them to cancel, because instead of them having to cancel to try other wines, like we are like facilitating that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Have you guys had any talks about doing one of those little like sample packs? I mean, you obviously figured out how to do it for a virtual tasting. Is there a way to do that as part of like the
Wine Atlas 8-pack?
Another tier of like wine club membership where you're getting one of each from every one of the wineries?
Well, we are here at an event which is supposed to support Free the Grapes.
Yeah.
This answered already.
This is a major licensing and shipping challenge. The way that we could do the sample pack is that it was rebottled under the license of the winery that did the rebottling, and then sold under that license and shipped under that license. The challenge is, I mean, there's challenges, there's legal challenges, there's also like physical challenges of how you get these wineries that are in 5-6 different states, like all of their stuff in the same place to do it. I would love to, but I'm not sure that that's the first thing that we're going to be able to tackle.
For sure. Yeah. In the meantime, let's just hold a couple of those sample packs for us.
I mean, we're definitely going to continue to do the sample packs.
You got to join. You used to be a Tablas. Are you still a Tablas member?
Jason knows this. I would join, order the
newest
varietal, and then I would quit because you had to be a member to get it. Now there's like a whole industry club. I don't know. I'll have to
I think
figure
your file's red flag.
The industry club is really nice. It's really great.
Yeah.
It's the only wine club I'm a part
So
of.
I have been a member 3-4 times.
You're
before.
that guy.
I'm the worst.
We call him Mr. Churn.
Yeah. Let me get some of that
Bringing
bourbon
down our averages.
All right. Well, quickly, I just want to touch on the 10-year retrospective. Is this something you guys do every year? You sit down and you go back 10 years and
it's the first tasting we do every year. Is we open up every wine that we made 10 years previously, and we do this. It's our whole production team, me, and usually a couple of other people from the front end of things, and it's our chance to kind of wrap our heads around what that vintage is like, how things have been aging at a point where like even the whites are usually still in good shape at 10 years. And provide recommendations for like update our drink this now chart, so that we can give some guidance to people who might have Tablas Creek in the cellars. And then we do a public event of a tasting of the highlights that's coming up in a couple of weekends in early February, where I think we picked 9 of the wines that we thought were the coolest from that 24 wine pre-tasting, and share that with anybody who wants to come and be a part of it.
Cool.
You want to come and be a part of it?
Yes. Can I carpool with you?
Okay, it looks like we're planning.
Yeah.
It's really, really fun. Because it turns out like 2016, which was 10 years ago this year, was a tremendous vintage. And we think of it in a lot of ways as being kind of the beginning of our modern era, like our run of like string of great vintages started in 2016. It was the year where we were farming the whole vineyard biodynamically. Like the vines had gotten to 25 years old. Like it was, for us, we felt like we really leveled up in 2016. And like could not be more excited to share these wines with people.
It's awesome.
Cool. Give people a little, tablascreek.com if they want to follow you. You are still pretty active doing some live Instagram stuff. Recently a empty nester, I believe. So I finally saw pictures of you and your wife on vacation, I think, which I was like, holy shit, Jason's on vacation.
I try to go on vacation like at least once every 5 years. Yeah. I mean, we have obviously one of the fun things now is that the things that I get to do, like the line between work and vacation is sometimes not all that clear. So like I got a chance to go to the UK last fall and do a handful of events for our agents in London and Cambridge. And my wife was like, wait a second, like I love England. And so she came along, we took a long weekend, spent it went to Bath and then went to Wales and did a whole like castle tour and hiking. And like, was that a work trip?
Yeah.
Was that a vacation?
Yes, absolutely.
I don't know.
In case accountants or the IRS is listening, that was a work trip.
The flights were definitely a work expense. We are getting a chance to kind of extend some of those work things into the kinds of things we would have done before we had kids, which is really fun.
Yeah.
So, sorry, you were asking how people learn more. So, I mean, we're pretty easy to find. We're tablascreek.com. We are at Tablas Creek on all the socials. If you want the deep dives into any of this, we've been writing a blog for 20 years. Where basically we're over 1,000 posts. We're basically a post a month for 20 years. Post a week for 20 years. So that's blog.tablascreek.com. We're excited.
Can Brian easily rejoin the wine club on the website?
Well, if he's coming to the event in 2 weekends, we can just do it there.
Physically sign a piece of paper. Right. And I highly recommend going to the property. I don't remember who was it were the three of us there last time when we went? And I didn't go on that trip. We hung out with Nathan, who I think at the time and
was our shepherd. Yeah,
it was you and me. We went because then we went to that restaurant and remember we were at the Hatch. We were at the Hatch. The lamb.
Yeah.
So
Tablas Creek lamb.
Played with the lambs in the vineyard and then went and had them for dinner.
Oh, I played with you earlier. Exactly. You're very tasty.
All right, Jason, thanks for hanging out with us. And
thanks, Jason.
Thank you.
DTC Symposium.
And thanks for all the work that you do on the Free the Grapes and making sure all this happens. So appreciate it.
I mean, all of this is made a whole lot easier by the fact that people can actually buy our wines,
right?
Like in most states now, and that is thanks to the work that Free the Grapes does in large part. So, but just a plug if you're not already on there, getting their alerts. So freethegrapes.org, they do great work, and it's worth supporting.
Cool.
That was
like a Patz Hall Pinot.
That was the most steady pour that we've had all week.
After 3 days, the shaking in my hand has stopped.
Totally. The alcohol has just taken over the blood.
It's a wine conference, which is clearly why there's no gin or whiskey left in the greater Monterey area after this week.
Yeah, Jasmine and I were complaining about it, but maybe it was a good thing they didn't have wine at lunch.
Yeah, I mean, there's wine somewhere, but we got to keep things professional. That's why we have Grant here to help us close out. Look how professional you look, man.
Hello, everyone. Good to be back.
Grant, who people might know from one of the previous shows when he was at Bedrock, right? I don't know that we've had you on since Comes
Yeah,
from the
that's
Patz
correct.
Hall?
We have not.
It's been a year or two. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
That was the
Hospitality.
The hospitality.
As soon as we
pod.
tried to come in there and bust a old bottle of Ravenswood out of Joel's cellar to celebrate our birthday anniversary,
Right.
Grant's like, "Well, I'm out," and those guys are on their own.
I'm still texting Iced and Adoya like, hey, there's somebody coming in. Their birthday's 1992. I know you have the wine.
Right?
But
Okay, so it's still possible.
they post a picture and they're super happy, so it's cool.
And Grant, you're running Patz Hall now.
Yeah, I left Bedrock back in March. It was a very tough thing to do because I love the team there and still keep up with all of them. I was texting Morgan and Chris last night, the mezcal list at the restaurant we went to.
There's no mezcal left in the Monterey Bay Area anywhere.
Nope, not up here. Yeah, but and of course they're just like, oh yeah, go for the mezcal. Like, that's a good wine list for a Mexican restaurant. But
Yeah, you guys were at Cultura,
which if you haven't been, it was awesome. It
was, huh?
super
new
good.
on my list of places to get a hit in Carmel.
Right.
No, I don't think they would have handled the 14
The 14 of us.
3 nights in a row the way that we took over this town at Barbara Gorder's lead.
Yeah.
I did see other symposium guests there though.
Oh, good.
So it looks
Wearing
like
their
there was a
badges
hospital.
out or just right.
Yeah, unfortunately, I was one of them. I was just like, oh shoot, got my badge still on, but
I've made it.
Just tuck it away.
To day 3 without putting my badge on one time.
Sam, you have a very recognizable face.
Or I just keep coming in the back doors.
So after listening to Sam say that, you might be thinking, next year I'm going to the symposium. I'm just going to walk around.
Barbara,
And all
we do
week,
not condone that.
You are a host of this show, and for some reason, I can't get you to talk into a microphone. And I'm trying to figure out where else to put you at the table, or maybe we just duct tape a microphone to your face.
We're going all lavalier mics next year. Just can't get it further away.
Yeah.
All right. So anyway,
We made it.
we made it, and Barbara will all buy participation. Yeah, we'll all buy badges next year.
Yes, well, and I'll wear it. I promise. It didn't go well with my golf outfit.
It was just a social experiment, is all it was.
It was.
Favorite guest that we had on this week? Who do you think?
Ooh.
I mean, I for me, it's
Yeah,
Dusky.
Dusky.
What can I say?
Yeah.
Yep.
Dusky
I mean, we
was-
definitely had the most fun with her.
Yeah. I wonder what it's going to sound like.
It's just pure. It's
It's
pure
just
joy.
all laughing.
Right, it'll
Yeah.
just be turn the volume down for those of you at home when Dusky's segment starts. Kelly and Jessah were great. I
Yes,
thought
they
the thing
were.
that the way that Kelly pulled off the game show, and anytime you can get that like Bronx growl that Jessah brings to a podcast, and be slightly intimidated, I'm here for it.
And we got to warm up Elaine Chuck and Brown before
Yes.
her
Yes.
before her
Good.
keynote speech. So
Tell her what she should say, and
that was great.
Grant, what was the favorite, your like top moment thing that you learned, what you're bringing back to the Patz Hall team after a week of direct to consumer consumption?
Sure. One of the more interesting ones I thought actually was with some of the influencers, which feels like there was a real clash of the wine industry versus the wine influencers that I thought was really interesting and very apparent. And I could see both sides, but I think there's some interesting. It's worth looking into a little more.
Grant, can you talk about it a little bit? Because we did not get to go to that seminar because we were recording.
We were locked in our
Sure,
dungeon.
sure. It really talked a lot about, how you partner with an influencer or a voice out there outside of the traditional wine media. Because there's, a younger and younger audience that are getting a lot of their news, a lot of their information about where to go just through texting ChatGPT or something like that. And so we just can't ignore that as a wine industry. Right. And so it's really interesting. I mean, one of their biggest messages that I took away was that you don't have to spend all your money in one basket. Find who all the different nano influencers are, micro or macro and all of that. And you can spread your budget out to multiple voices. And that's a more effective way of using that as a tool. So I thought that was an interesting takeaway. I mean, a lot of terms I didn't understand. I mean, I posted a few TikToks here and there, but it's I don't know the code here.
Brian's mission this week has been to get the marketing professionals to actually explain
Speak
their
English.
terms and their acronyms. And
But it also gave me an understanding of maybe how people feel sometimes when wine people, because we do have our own language.
this is 2 grams of RS, and we did a little carbonic maceration. And,
Right.
we topped off and
Little
kept the
ML.
SO2 at about 17.
Well, some
We're
VA
really happy
in there.
Sure. Well, even the consumer panel yesterday was super interesting, and nobody knew what regenerative was.
Right. Well,
Right.
They tried. There was a couple of them they tried.
Yeah, they tried.
You know, I would venture to say that if you ask wine professionals, about maybe 50% of them would be able to describe regenerative.
That's true.
And I know that might sound sad.
And
I think
20% of those 50% will get it right.
yeah. I think most people are like, no chemicals, no pesticides, no herbicides. Beyond that, I mean, it's up for grabs.
Totally.
Yeah. But the influencers, I think having a nice conversation with Isis last night, she not once...
Isis Daniels, the Millennial Psalm.
Isis Daniels, the Millennial Psalm. She did not once say what I had heard different influencers that had come into the tasting room last year when they asked about our marketing. And I said, it's very organic. We do everything ourselves. And the response was always, oh, I can make it look organic, is what they would tell me. And I didn't hear that from Isis last night, which was great. It was a very genuine, authentic conversation.
Because you can't
which was cool.
look organic. You either are or you aren't.
Right.
That's, but that's how I think the
I mean, I tried to say this last night to Isis, and I'm not sure if it came out quite right.
Well, you were far across the table, and there was 17 bottles of wine separating you.
But I think I know that it's easy to mock the influencers, but if you don't like what the influencer is doing, then don't follow them anymore. Spend your time trying to find an influencer that maybe you go, they do a good job, right? Mm-hmm. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's just all about finding your authentic voice and others that believe in that authenticity and want to share it, whether it be for monetary reasons or just because they want to support you.
I mean, I would say from our experience with, say, a Kelly Cornett, who, is in her way a wine influencer, maybe not in the sort of traditional sense of, posting pictures, posing with bottles next to a beach or something. But I think it's because there's a real life connection. Like if you're going to work with an influencer, you're actually working with a human. You're not working with an Instagram account. Right. And if you vibe with the human, then the content that you will produce together will, work and be beneficial and something you'll be proud of. And if you're working with an Instagram account and a management team, you could make it look organic, but it never will be, right?
Well, Kelly, totally. When you see pictures that she posts, it's not a photo shoot.
No.
It's her out to dinner
life.
with a bunch of people drinking fun stuff.
Yeah. And now, as Kelly said in the hallway a second ago, she was a attendee at this last year, and now she's on the main stage. So, yeah.
And not everyone likes Evan Roscoe or Sierra Wine Guy or even Casey Graybell, the Grenacheista. But some of us do, and maybe we don't get a lot of knowledge or information out of some of those people, but we like looking at stuff they do, and they're fun, and it keeps us engaged. So.
All right, so you're going to take someone back to Patz Hall? You'll do it?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely, yeah.
Micro-influencing happening. How do you guys, there's, I don't know, people who maybe live in Sonoma know these things, but you've moved out of the 8th Street East house, whatever you called it.
Yesterday.
I don't know. And...
Well, it's been an exciting journey for Patz Hall. And for those that are new to the brand, it was started by James Hall back in 1988. He sold to Chateau Ste. Michelle in 2016, but then had the opportunity to buy the winery back March of 23 or 24. Yeah, 24.
Yeah.
And so it's been really exciting. It's a whole new management team.
He's got to feel just amazed that happened.
Right? Oh, yeah. He pinches himself every day.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a couple people that have been able to do this, like Doug Stewart with up in Mendocino County that we had on. And, it's got to be. And then, of course, I always wonder, I wonder how much he got it back for. Because presumably, and if you know, please don't say it. But if presumably, if they want to get rid of it and they are offering it to you, they're probably giving you a pretty good deal on it.
Yeah, well, they owned 2 other wineries as well. So Chateau Ste. Michelle, based out of Washington, they owned at the time Stag's Leap Wine Cellars and Con Creek. And then when those 2 wineries left the fold, Patz Hall was the last one standing. The cool thing is when they sold, when James sold to Patz Hall, his big thing was, you're going to keep me as winemaker, you're going to double my salary, and you're not going to tell me how to make the wine. And they largely left him alone. So, I mean, like the winemaking team, the vineyard sourcing, it's all been the same. You know, we've been working with certain growers for, 20, 30 plus years, the Hydes, Pissonis, the list goes on. So it's really exciting in the world of Chardonnay and Pinot Noir. And we do a little bit of sparkling wine as well. So with the sale of the tasting room, which was separate from the winery, right. That was a leased property for the last 10, 12 years. And so now we're moving into a little bungalow like you guys, just a couple blocks away. And so, I guess the world, doesn't want me to leave the Sonoma Square.
No,
after
drawing you back. Well, what's going to happen now is you're going to be on First Street East, and we're on First Street West. And the way that Sonoma's laid out doesn't make sense to people who aren't from Sonoma because it's like 1 and 1 are right next to each other. Mm-hmm. We will have people walk in looking for Patz Hall, and you will have people walking in looking for 16600, Lord willing. So,
yeah, absolutely, and that'll be great.
Do you have a estimated when are you guys going to be
looking? We're doing a little renovation at the moment, just confirming with a contract team and a designer and all that fun stuff. So hopefully April. Okay. And so what I was brought on to Patz Hall last year, I was brought on really to really overhaul their hospitality program. And so this is a really fun opportunity to go into our new era that we're kind of, escaping the I don't want to say the clutching of our corporate overlords. And now we're back to small, we like to joke we're a 38-year-old startup. Right. And so, moving into this new space, it's an opportunity to really go into that next chapter. Because, my brand's been around since 1988. So I started in Napa and, started in Rutherford up at Honig and then over like Corporate Drive, something like that. And then over to 8th Street East, and the winery's still there. So, we're grooving.
Cool.
That's awesome.
Looking forward to being neighbors.
Yeah, same.
All right.
Because I heard you have a good champagne collection, actually. Is really why we're going to be over there busting into Grant's cellar.
Oh, yeah.
Come on out. Daisy's not there. Yeah. We'll go over and... All right, you guys. We're all heading out. Thank you, Barbara Gorder.
Yep.
And all the organizers, Jasmine Egan and Brian as well.
Our Roz from the Fraser Collins show this week. Yep. Jasmine put together this whole program for us.
Yeah. Everyone did a great job. Came off without a hitch, as far as I could tell.
We're hitch-free. Except for our golf swings and maybe some of our wine pours.
And we'll look forward to...
And Danielle.
Danielle,
where are you?
Where are you, Danielle?
Danielle was...
This is, year one, I think I learned my lesson. That you got to kind of monitor yourself after dinner because the temptation is to hang out in the bar and have a little bit too much fun.
Right. Well, this bar scene is a lot better than our dear friends at the Concord Hilton. So.
No shit.
Yeah. Nice. You got the fire pits at the fire pits at the Concord Hilton aren't ones you want to hang out at all night long. Let's just put it that way.
Because they're not gas powered fire pits. They're just a fire out in the parking lot.
Trash powered. But big shout outs to freethegrapes.org.
Yes.
Sign up if you're a consumer. Sign up if you're a winery.
And the
that's what keeps us all going. And the collab,
wineinstitute.org.
Right. Share wine
with the
collab thing. I'm excited about checking in on the collab next year and see what they've done. That was actually honor. It was great to sit down with Honor again. Obviously Steve Gross, Jason Haas. This is a great organization, and we're lucky that they keep putting up with us year after year.
Yeah, hopefully
we must be doing something right.
Something right, or we're just not doing enough wrong.
Right.
All right, look for a lot of the photos and videos. James Joyner was here all week shooting some great photos, and if anyone has any ideas for next year, reach out to Barbara Gorder at Unglorder on Instagram.
What is her? Undisclosed location.
Yeah, undisclosed location.
Unlow Gorder.
Undisclosed location.
UNLO Gorder.
Yeah, if you can find her, leave her a note.
Yeah, good luck.
Or get a hold of us.
Or get a hold of us.
We might know how to get a hold of her.
Yeah, and we possibly were. Apparently, people are complaining to members of the 16600 team that I'm not responding to their Hoova messages on the app. And I didn't know there was a game with Hoova.
What's a Hoova?
What's a Hoova? It's not a Hoova.
We used to have a Hoova. And then we got a Dyson.
I bought one on Instagram. It doesn't work. I don't know.
All right, we'll talk to you. We'll talk to you next week. Coming to DTC next year, but enjoy the content. Hey, everyone at DTC Symposium with Jessah Diaz and Kelly Cornett.
Wait, is this the Winemakers podcast?
I'm
have we
sure.
said that once in any of these shows yet?
No.
No.
We
Have we said
haven't.
our names?
No. we haven't.
Fantastic. We're such perfect.
Are you sure we could just say it's the Cork in the Road podcast?
We're in the Cork in the Road podcast here on the road. And
That'll save Kelly a little work when she goes back home.
It's
She's like,
fine.
shit, don't got to do a show this week.
no, Kelly's organized in a planner. She has 3 shows in the can that's going to come out while
Already
she's out here.
edited. And
Yeah, totally.
Copy is done, and yeah.
Not in 2026. That might have been 2025. Maybe, but I'll do what I can.
Okay. You're aspiring to be us at this point.
Great.
Yes. Well, I had to design a whole presentation for this DTC conference, so a few of the podcasts have not been edited. Sorry, I'm a little behind.
So we're blaming Barbara.
Sure,
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes,
but we also are thanking Barbara.
Thanks, Barbara.
Yes,
Yeah, you created a game show
it was a game show.
out of thin air.
Well, it had an essence of the little game show we do called Somlympics in Atlanta. It's a little one, but we adapted it to this audience. And Somlympics just happened 2 weeks ago, so that happened. And then Barbara had invited me to create a hospitality version of the Somlympics 3-event challenge of tasting, theory, and service, which typically is for the restaurant, beverage director kind of world. And I was like, well, for the tasting room, hospitality, wine club management, we changed the challenges, but it was still the essence of Somlympics, the joy. Hopefully it was the joy, the community, the fun, the silliness.
Yes.
That was really the point of that session.
Well, I certainly had fun. What?
Where did they get the signs?
Yeah.
Oh, the nice purple
That
Napa.
was Barbara. She texted me one day. It was just these neon signs. She's like, I've got signs for the podiums. And I was like, okay, that is not like just like a paper sign. Those were like serious, bar
like
neon
neon
lights.
Yeah, well, I want to know what's happening with those after.
You want to
this
take one
weekend.
home?
I think we should maybe.
You want
take
the
the Sonoma
Michigan one?
We should find one.
We can find one accidentally slipped into a suitcase. I don't know how that got there.
Brian's going to hang the Michigan one in his house. It's gonna
No,
be great.
that's not happening. You get the Michigan one. We'll pack that up and ship it to you.
Okay, deal. But we did have someone already on the DTC Instagram say, hey, next year, Santa Barbara, we want to represent. So I guess there's challenges. There's
Maybe we'll have to have
future
a
challenges.
tournament or something.
That's like final round.
Right.
I don't know. This is getting really big, really fast. I don't know what to
As
do.
usual.
The babies they just grow up so fast. So yeah, this was the first time doing it, but there were so many moving parts and I was really worried about the technology. So we had a rehearsal in the morning. I get there and there was this incredibly talented tech team that had everything already figured out. They already knew where the podiums were going to go. They said, oh, we're moving your slides to the web browser, whatever. Like they were driving the bus and I thought I was going to have to plug in my laptop. So the whole night before I was panicking. Like, how do I do all this? How do I click everything? And they're like, we got you. It was the most incredible team of tech support. So then I just stood up there and had to like go through the run of show. And it was really, really, really easy. Thank you. Thank you, John. If he's listening. Yeah, that's it.
Kelly, if you work in hotels for any period of time, there's always an AV team. And they're usually 20-something guys. They're usually kind of dorky. They're definitely they go to Comic-Con and play video games. But you don't have to do shit. You just tell them what you want to do.
I hope they're not
like,
listening.
yeah, you need a 4X 737 connector
I mean,
cable.
to be fair, we're also all dorky. So
I'm not saying we're not. I'm saying
go to
when I saw them,
WineCon, man.
when I saw them yesterday, I was like, I know those guys.
We're at WineCon. wine.
Maybe that's why I got along with them, because I'm like, I am one of you, just I'm wine instead. It was pretty cool. So that was really fun to have it on the big stage, and the whole new aspect of it. And you saw the themes of the previous presenters. It was like collaboration, community, fun, enjoyment. So that was kind of how we were trying to close it. And Jessah actually had been part of helping me think about the structure of it. She didn't know she would be a participant till the very last second, but she jumped in. And then, I gave them, we did have official scorekeeping. We tried to follow some rules. Things got a little off the rail at the end because why not? And then we actually had a drum roll, and Jessah was the top scorer.
Champion.
Thank you. I'm still confused about the tabulation because I really thought Kim won. I was in my mind, I was like,
Kim
she
was
won.
a firecracker.
She was a firecracker.
amazing.
Her answers were so incredible and off the cuff and fun. And I think, like, you were talking about the collaboration. I think, like, in our industry specifically, sometimes we forget to have fun and collaborate, and we just focus on, like, education and this and that. And I'm like, can we just not for a second? And, like, I know it's still educational, but we just had fun, and I didn't take it seriously. And I literally told my staff afterwards, don't listen to anything I said when I was up there.
You better not do any of those things.
Because, I am not the one that's selling the wine directly to the people. You are, and you probably have much better techniques than I exhibited up there. But
You have instincts, though, because the scenarios were based on my personal experiences working in a tasting room. And so I was giving them scenarios, and then on the fly, it was like, how are you going to handle this? And then the audience was voting on like an Uber score, 1 through 5. They got 5 stars or 1 star of how well you handled it. But you have those instincts because you handled those situations really, really well.
oh, thanks. I thought I was just being funny, but I also, but
That
what's
works,
wrong with
though.
that? It does
works.
work too. I mean, that's true. Like, I think we forget that. I think it's really hard for people in tasting rooms to pivot. Like, when they come upon somebody who has like a different type of personality, even if it's like the other way where they're super serious and they can dive into all this sort of wine nerdy stuff, or if they're not and they're like taking pictures and completely glossed over, like, please find another tactic, like pivot.
We do that sometimes in the tasting room. We'll even trade off sometimes where we'll be like, you know what? I'm not really connecting with these people.
Yeah.
Why don't you go over and give it a shot? Or you go to grab a bottle and you're like, okay, whatever I'm doing maybe isn't working. So, like, let me try and come at this from a different perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Because everyone's got such different personalities.
For sure.
And everyone is, you're in a different mood every day yourself when you come to work. And sometimes you got to go take a look in the mirror and be like, yo, what the fuck am I bringing to this right now?
And who was your audience? I forget that you had to sell your blind tasting wine to. Who did I assign you?
Oh my God, I blacked out, Kelly. I don't know.
I don't remember either.
I think it was a retiree was one of them, 2 women, and one was like the mother that had just retired.
Yeah, mother-daughter retiree birthday.
Yes.
And you had to sell the wine in your glass that you didn't know what it was, but you evoked, well, actually, the keynote this morning was talking about having emotion be part of how we describe wines. And Jessah, you already excel in that. You described emotion from the wine. So
Porch pounder is a real emotion.
That's right. You looked at me, and that's when I confessed to the entire ballroom that my mom was here with me for the conference.
Yes. But no, and I can't remember the other scenario that I had. Oh, I think it was like about somebody being too loud.
Yeah. Yes.
And and I actually had that happen to me where
you were the loud one.
I was the loud one. I was in a tasting room saying hello to this guy. It was actually a gentleman who was one of our vendors and his wife, and they came from Colorado. And I'm like talking it up, and we started talking about books, and we were like nerding out over books. And this woman came over, and she's like, "You guys are really loud, and we can't hear what the host is saying." And I was like, "Sorry."
Wait, this was at your place of business.
Yes.
This was not you out enjoying it.
No, it was not me out enjoying. It was me. Yes. Just to be clear, it was me at work.
This shit gets real. Do you guys remember in Napa on the wine train? Do you remember a group of African American women that got basically kicked off the train because they were told they were too loud?
Mm-hmm.
And then a lawsuit was
imminent.
Yes.
And now they own the wine train.
Exactly.
Well, I hope they do. Man, some stuffy people over in Napa. No offense.
Yeah. No, I mean, listen.
We all back away from Danielle.
I wave the flag of like Napa. You need to like loosen up. Yeah. Drink some of that wine that you make.
I mean, you did just
loosen up.
You just won the challenge.
No,
Napa,
I know.
So you were exhibiting wonderful hospitality skills.
Yes. Yeah. I just think sometimes we are our own worst enemy. Truly, and especially in Napa. Like we're so serious.
Preach.
Why so serious? Like
that
it's
was
not-
our whole goal going up there.
Yeah.
Everyone was like, let's just have fun. Let's kind of lean into improv skills. Let's see what happens. There was planned parts and then there were just, unscripted parts. And we knew that would be fine, but it was the goal of having fun. So we did that.
Yeah, no, totally. And I said to Kelly this morning on Instagram, I was like, I feel like this is one of the most important things we've done at this conference because there's collaboration and fun and innovative ways to make people interested in wine. Because you were saying that like Som Olympics has spectators that are not in the wine industry. And can we come up with different ways? And I mean, this is on me too, to like get people in. Because once you're in, you're like, you want to know everything. But I think like when we talk about it, and I said this last year on the podcast, like you're talking to a girl from the Bronx or like people from the Bronx. Yeah, we drink wine, but we're not talking about carbonic maceration.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it's just, and so to be talked at about that is maybe not the tactic.
Yeah.
And we just have to figure out some fun ways or be able to pivot or be able to like, that's really interesting that you'll like trade off with people and just be like, we're not vibing. And I think that's actually really good because it's admitting these are not my people.
For some reason.
Yeah, for whatever reason.
Sometimes you have no idea. It's energy flow isn't happening. And then when alcohol is involved, there's always variables that, become a little bit challenging sometimes because people either become a best version of themselves or maybe not so good version of themselves.
More contrarian than the contrarian can be.
That was one of the other scenarios was what would you do if an intoxicated guest says, just one more tasting pour. Yeah. And that happened to me a lot. And so, interesting things can happen. The conditions of the conversation can change when alcohol is involved. So.
We have a wine club member that came up with like 12 different ways to ask for another pour after the tasting was finished. It was, I'd like to revisit.
That's
or
the
can I get
classy one.
A splash of this? I mean, and he had a whole list. And he would see how many he could just go down for that point where we're like, okay, dude, this is...
You've now drank an entire bottle of wine.
He's revisited 12 times.
But I like the initiative.
Yeah, totally.
Well, thanks for understanding that is a really unique set of skills, is that hospitality side of the wine industry. I love that the DTC Symposium celebrates that. I feel like there's marketing people here. There's customer facing roles. There's people that welcome people into tasting rooms that have never been to wineries before. Like that happens with this type of role in the industry. So I like that. I like that we got to challenge people and show those skills. That was really fun for me.
Yeah.
Awesome.
No, Jessah, what do you do when you're like, what's your daily life look like at work?
Every once in a while they let me out amongst the people, but mostly I'm behind a computer and just really my role is mostly strategy and trying to figure out, especially with the wine club and direct to consumer as far as e-com goes or anything like that, just planning really what we're going to do and looking and saying, yeah, that's not really working, guys. We need to come up with something different. And trying to do that within a brand that's well established and, affordable luxury. And we can't go completely off the rails. Like I would love to do what Ed does at Tank Garage Winery, right? But like that doesn't fit our brand. And unfortunately we can't go down that path. So it's finding ways. And I actually find that more challenging and fulfilling because I would love to go all the way to this end extreme and I can't. So I have to kind of stay in the middle. So I really like that. But it's really finding ways to get people to know our brand, love our brand, enjoy our brand, and then keeping the people happy that have been with us for some people 30 plus years.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. I want to come do a tasting with you next time.
Please,
Cake
yes.
bread's going on my itinerary.
Keep it down though. Jeez. I can't hear my Cabernet.
I'll be the very disruptive
I can't
guest.
hear my Cabernet.
Right.
That's amazing.
Well, I do know that Sam does describe some wines of how what song they might be. I do know that sound is very important in your tasting. So this is key.
The last time I was at your tasting room.
Sam, are you harassing Kelly because she's tall?
If that was the case, I would harass everyone. Oh, wait. Maybe that is the problem.
Well, everybody said a fun fact on the panel, which also was really interesting to me because I think it opened up people getting to know you all in different ways than just your roles. But I forgot to tell everybody the fun fact from my side of things is that I am the shortest in my family. So I don't think that you can make fun of me being tall, but I don't think I'm tall. So it's fine. You can do whatever you want.
Well, I think I'm a normal height and everybody else is just tall.
Well, Jessah, you didn't win one of the grand prizes from Som Olympics, but you did win something. What was this lovely prize? You got to shout out Elaine for this one.
Yes, I got Elaine Chicken Brown's book, The Wines of California, and I was very excited about that.
Signed, autographed.
No, signed. It was really lovely.
That was really, really
That was
cool.
really nice. Thank you, Elaine.
And you got to come on the podcast.
Right.
I got to come on the podcast.
huge
That was also
win.
my prize. Yes.
Yeah.
And you got to go hang out at the aquarium last night.
It was, that was really cool.
aquarium.
I'm still, my
Magical.
mind is still blown that was the actual open ocean. My brain wasn't comprehending it.
I didn't even realize that until you just said that.
What?
Yeah.
No, that's all I could talk about there. I was like, guys, that's the ocean.
Wow.
Yeah, that was the ocean.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
It was beautiful. It was what a cool setting to have a little
Yeah.
party in last
Yeah, it was really amazing. I think that Barbara and everybody at DTC Wine Symposium Steering Committee did an awesome job. So shout out to them. This is a lot of work.
Give a little shout out for Cake Bread. Tell people what's going on.
Yeah, Cake Bread Cellars. So we have a variety of different tastings if you would like to come, but one I highly recommend is our wine and food. I think it's our signature. Jack and Dolores were really, really stoked about wine and food going together. And we source everything from our garden and local purveyors.
Nice.
And so it's just a really lovely experience, and we hope that everybody will stop
Where
by
exactly
and
are you guys located?
taste it. We are at 8300 St. Helena Highway. It's right off Highway 29. So we're right past Turnbull.
Cool.
If you're going north on 29.
I was actually a harvest lab intern at Cake Bread.
Really?
Yes.
First year out here?
Second
year?
year.
Second year, I remember that.
Right after I came in.
Right.
And I accidentally set the lab table on fire, but I'll tell you about that off air.
Nice.
You know what? You could just leave it at that. My imagination's much better.
We don't want the real story.
I don't want to hear.
Can I tell you that we're about to do our open house, and we have these phones set up for everybody to pick up and record a message of just an experience with Cake Bread that they've had, because so many people have so many stories just that story right there. And it's wild. Like, people will be like, oh, my baby got christened and we had Cake Bread, and then I brought my baby to the party right afterwards, and Jack held her in her christening dress and took a picture. Like, it's wild. Like, there's just so many of these really human stories.
Awesome.
Yeah, and it's so awesome. So we decided to put phones out at our open house and just have everybody pick up the phone and sort of leave a message of why Cake Bread is special to them.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. Shout out Manny, our events manager, because she made that happen. So, yeah.
And Kelly, let people know how they can listen to your show and
What do you got
maybe date of next Som Olympics. You already thinking about that?
We are, but I want people to continue listening to this. Don't switch over yet. Listen to this podcast. And then when you're
We're
done
almost done.
listening to the Winemakers podcast,
I listen to yours more often than I listen to this one.
True.
that's very kind, Sam. That means a lot because you are a professional podcaster. So my podcast is A Cork in the Road. Anywhere you listen to your podcast, I have been told that people are finding podcasts on YouTube. So mine are not on YouTube. I have not moved into the video podcast world. So that was just the one. But other than that, audio platforms, A Cork in the Road. And then, I'm based in Atlanta. We have some really fun things. Som Olympics 4th, we're going to call it vintage. We've been saying vintage for this. 4th vintage, we do have a date, is January 10th, 2027. And we will be having teams come. This year, we had 14 states represented from teams of 3 people and 12 teams total. if we have more space in the venue, we'll welcome more teams. But
this
all of
thing's
that
going to
is
get out of control. This is
it
going to
already
become,
is.
Yeah.
It already is. But
We
yeah,
have to have regionals, you know?
Right.
Like the playoffs, you're going to
totally.
have then you'll have like the
So-
Super Bowl Somme Olympics.
so I'll never do anything else but plan for some Olympics. Okay, that sounds about right. Yeah, that's a year-round thing now.
Is that bad?
It's not bad. It's not bad. It's so fun.
Would you
It's
rather
so
work
joyous.
for the CDC?
I do like that too, Bart. I do. We're doing good things.
Yes, you are, for sure. Keep the funding.
Just hang on for another 3 years.
I love you guys. So fun. Thanks for having us, y'all.
Yeah.
All right,
thank
you guys, enjoy the rest of the DTC Symposium.
Congratulations,
Awesome.
Jessah, and congratulations,
Thanks.
Kelly, for putting that together. That was a blast yesterday.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.